Let's see how we can spot a pattern to help us with addition problems. Let's say we have 118, we add 13, and that gives us 131. Then we start with 118 again, but this time we add 23. Now, we can just add another 10 to that answer. But before we do, I want to show you something. Let's go back to our first problem. If we look at the digits in the tens place, we had a 1 and another 1, which makes 2, but our answer has 3 in the tens place. So how could that happen? That's a bit worrying. Well, no, it's actually okay. If you look at the digits in the units place, we had 8 units and 3 units, and that made 11 units. So we actually have 1 in the units place, and we've regrouped one of them. So that's where the extra 1 comes from, in the tens place. 1 and 1 and 1 makes 3, and we've got 1 in the hundreds place. So if you notice that each digit doesn't necessarily add up, say in the tens place, you don't need to worry. And now we can actually work with a pattern. So let's have a look. 118. Well, those numbers are the same, but we're adding 23. So we've got 1 more in the tens place. So even though the digit in the tens place has that regrouping in it, it doesn't matter. We still just add 1 in the tens place. Let's just double check that to make sure we understand that the extra 1 is from regrouping. 1 and 2 makes 3, and we've got 1 more, which makes 4. So that is right, because the 8 and the 3 in the units place gave us that extra 10. So we needed to have 1 more in the tens place. And now we can just trust that pattern and say, oh, okay, 118 hasn't changed, plus 23, now we've got 33, so we've got 1 extra 10. So our answer is also going to have 1 extra 10. And that means 151. And we don't need to check the other part now because we can see why it's doing that. So you could keep going. 161. We're adding on an extra 10 each time, so our answer is getting bigger by 10. Now subtraction works exactly the same way. Let's look at one where we also have regrouping. We've got 93 minus 18 equals 75. How will that help us solve 83 minus 18? Well, the thing is, we've still got the issue here where we've got a 9 in the tens place. We're taking away 1 in the tens place, which is 8, but we've only got 7 in our answer. And that's because we didn't have enough units to take away, so we had to regroup. We had 93 and we took away 18, so we had to take one of our tens to make it 10 units. 13 minus 8 was 5. And that means we really only had 8 tens then to work with. So 8 minus 1 was 7. So that's why the digits don't just subtract going across. And that's quite often the case. But now we've got that there, let's have a look at what happens to each number. We had 93 and now we've got 83. So that's actually 10 smaller. So we've got 18 that we're taking away, and that hasn't changed. So if we started with 10 less and we're taking away the same amount, we end with 10 less. So our answer also decreases by 10. So 7 in the tens place becomes 6 in the tens place, 65. What about 73 minus 18? Well, we've got 73 to start with, which is 10 less than 83. We're subtracting 18 again, so that hasn't changed. So if we started with 10 less, we must end with 10 less if we're subtracting the same amount. So instead of 65, we have 5 in the tens place, which is 55. So the same process that we use for addition.